Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, I just wanted to do a quick showcase of the meta throughout not just Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, through Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, but not just through the West, but also the East. I wanted to kind of showcase what the OCG players as well as the TCG players are kind of doing and what the meta looks like throughout. So, we can take a look at the tier list here on masterduelmeta.com, and we can see that Tri-Brigade, Zodiac, and Sword Soul Tenyi are the top tier decks. They're both tier 1 according to this, and this is based off of the tournaments. So when we actually take a look at top decks, get out of my face, we start to realize that is only 49 total decks. When we activate the tournaments, we can see that, yeah, it kind of makes sense as to why Sword Soul Tenyi and Zodiac Tri-Brigade are at the top, just given the fact that they are oftentimes, winning tournaments or taking up a large percentage. But when we actually look at Diamond 1, we start to see a different picture, right? We start to see that, where's Tri-Brigade? Huh, doesn't seem to be here. It's clear down here. So yeah, when we start to look at this, we start to see that Tenyi Sword Soul is the deck to beat. So that's just something to kind of consider. Looks like Tenyi Sword Soul is kind of the deck to, whether or not you beat it or not, that is the deck that a lot of people are playing and the deck to watch out for. Now, I don't need to tell you guys this, but other decks that may be worth considering looking at and preparing for are things like Eldritch. Eldritch is insanely popular, not only on the ladder, but also within tournaments, meaning they are able to, they're going to take up a lot of top cut slots, as well as just be played a lot in the meta right now, and the reason for that is because of Zombie World. Zombie World is absolutely crazy against Tenyis, and that's the main reason. It's also very good against Tri-Brigade. It's also very good against basically every deck. So there's that. Moving on, we also have things like Sky Striker, Prank Kids, Attic Nister, Dinos, Numeron, etc. that are taking up a lot of spots within the ladder and are definitely just all over the place. Now, even with that being said, Adamancipator is still something to be considered to play. I still think that this deck is absolutely crazy and is still very strong. Now, it's not as strong due to DPE just being absolutely insane and the fact that a lot of people are playing more hand traps just in general. So yeah, it's not as good. It does kind of lose to hand traps. Drytron's basically fallen off of the face of the earth. However, it's still technically playable as well. So definitely things to consider. But as you can see, this is kind of an idea to how the meta works. If you want to look at the ladder, you can look at something like this. And then if you want to take a look at tournaments specifically, you can take a look at something like this, right? Now, with this being said, this is for more of the Western audience, more TCG players. And this is only the one website and the one community being Decade's community and the Master Duel meta community. So it's not quite everything. I would say that while Eldritch is definitely popular, Sky Striker is not nearly as played as Eldritch. So what gives? Well, let's take a look at the metagame report for the East, or a lot of the OCG players. Now, this one is purely based upon tournaments, not necessarily the ladder. We can take a look down here, all the way down, and we can see all of the tournaments that are actually being played. As you can see, this isn't the ladder or anything like that, but this does give us a great representation as to what a lot of the OCG players in particular are playing. So here we can see the metagame report. There's also another one right down here that showcases a few things. Notably, it showcases that Eldritch is actually the best deck in the OCG, or with OCG players. The reason for this is because it has great matchups against Tri-Brigade and Sword Soul, and given the fact that this meta is a little bit slower just in general, and they also tend to play best of ones, this does give us a great representation for the ladder. Eldritch is going to be everywhere. Sword Soul, as well, is going to be everywhere. according to this one. This one gives us a little bit more of a specific breakdown, with Sword Soul being second place, which is definitely something to more accurately represent the latter. So if you're looking at this, there you go. Eldritch, Sword Soul makes sense. However, notably, something that is very interesting is Shaddoll being so high on their play rate as well. Shaddoll is basically everywhere. You can play it with a whole bunch of different things, especially since grass is not banned. It's currently at 3. Anyway, as you can see, there are a lot of grass variants of Shaddoll running around, mostly with invoked, some with other things like going second strategies such as kaijus. But yeah, Shaddoll is kind of everywhere at the moment in Master Duel, which is interesting to see. As a Western player, I don't tend to see a lot of Shaddolls, but apparently they're everywhere in tournaments, so definitely something to consider playing yourself. Yeah, definitely Shaddolls in particular make sense just because they are kind of the second best control deck in the format, and we have Tri-Brigade and Sword Soul, which are very combo heavy, as well as a lot of other decks such as Virtual World, Phantom Knights, etc., that are also very combo heavy, and these can really slow them down. We also have Phantom Knights coming in at the number 5 slot, technically. Here we got Sky Striker. That makes sense. Destiny Hero, or Destroy Phoenix Enforcer, I should say, is absolutely crazy with Sky Strikers, so it does make sense as to why that deck has shot up in popularity. Virtual Worlds have kind of been reduced. I think it's mostly because people have already played through Virtual World, Tri-Brigade stuff, so those numbers have been reduced, and so if you're not going to be playing the best deck, why play the second best deck? Yeah, so not as many people are playing it. Drytron got a big hit, so that has been nerfed and is lower, but still played. Luna, this is Luna Kaiju. This has been pretty popular. Even if we go back to this one, we can look at the tournaments, and there is a Luna Kaiju right here as well. So within tournaments, it does make sense as to why this is popping up. It breaks boards very effectively, while also just generating a lot of advantage. It's just basically a going second strategy that works. And then you can also play things like DPE to close out the game, etc., etc. So, very nice. Prank Kids are way underrepresented here as compared to this one. We can see that Prank Kids are, I mean, they're up here. Yeah. You can see Prank Kids are pretty popular in the West, whereas they're not quite nearly as popular here. We have things like Luna Lights as well, Orchist, etc., yada yada. And then down here has more representation. This is a more specific date. Yeah, it's basically the 9th through the 31st. And as you can see, Tri-Brigade has fallen off on this one, whereas here, I think this was prior to the release of Sword Soul, I think, the 1st through the 8th. I could be wrong about that, but that might be why Tri-Brigade and Shaddoll are up further, whereas Sword Soul is up further on this. But anyway, I mean, the meta still looks very similar. Phantom Knights are still very popular. Sky Striker is still very popular. But then, of course, we have Eldritch, Sword Soul, and Shaddoll taking up the top 3 spots. So, there you go. This is what an average Eldritch deck looks like. The addition of Lord of Heavenly Prisons is absolutely insane for the strategy. Being able to also have things like Vanity's Emptiness, Imperial Order, and just the like are absolutely phenomenal for this deck, and definitely why it's taking up a lot of slots. This is also a very expensive version of the deck, running the triple Dogmatica Punishment with the triple Entis. Does make sense, but absolutely crazy. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I love this deck. This just looks so good. I would hate to play against this, but holy crap, does this look clean. Moving on, we have a Sword Soul list as well here. We have a pretty standard list, to be fair. However, they're also playing a whole bunch of things that are not standard. Notably, Borbo's in here. Chakanine, Borbo, and Zeus for going second options. You might be so confused as to why this is the case. Well, this is more of a going second strategy, and as you can see, they're not playing Tenyis. So their plan is special summon out the Ecclesia, normal summon any of your Sword Souls, mostly something like a Taya. Instead of activating the effect, you instead go into a Chakanine, or if your effect ends up getting negated or something like that, you go into a Chakanine, you go into Borbo, you attack directly, you make Zeus, Zeus can wipe the field, and then you can continue your plays from there. Pretty interesting, just something to note. And then, yeah, it's basically just without the Tenyi stuff, so, you know, no monk, no shaman, no anything like that. Just pretty standard. Instead, playing the Zeus engine. This is the Shadal lists that a lot of people are playing, or something similar to this. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Just you activate grass and you mill a whole bunch of cards, and then it's just Shadal invoked. And a million hand traps, as you can see. Effect Veilers, Maxis, Ash Blossom, even Imperms in here. So, yeah, lots and lots of hand traps, and lots of stuff to mill. Makes sense. And then a Tri-Brigade list. Tri-Brigade is very different in the OCG, or with OCG players, than it is with the Master Duel Western players. If we take a look quickly at one of the Zodiac Tri-Brigade lists, first of all, you will see they're playing Zodiacs. That's it. They're just playing Zodiacs, right? Whereas over here in OCG land, they're playing Cat instead. Now, this just allows the deck to be more pure as a variant, and it allows them to play a lot more going second options as well, and just more hand traps in general. Meaning, basically, if you see Cat, you're off to the races and you get full combo, and your combo is actually, I would say, a bit better. While it doesn't allow you to make Zeus and board break nearly as effectively, the thing is, you get to play things like Nibiru and a million hand traps, and as you can see, this person is also playing Dark Ruler. Dark Ruler is a card that, quite frankly, just doesn't come up a lot in the West, but yeah, definitely a very, very solid card. And yeah, that's basically it for this little metagame report. I just kind of wanted to show you guys that, like, overall, this is how the meta is shaking up, right? Eldritch seems to be the deck to actually beat, which is kind of funny given the fact that Eldritch did, in fact, just get hit on the most recent ban list. They put Conquistador to 1, which was not the problem. So, yeah, not surprising that Eldritch is still absolutely everywhere. And then Tenyi Sword Soul is the second deck to beat, and basically, if you can beat that due to how popular it is, you can win. So just watch out for these two decks. Other things to consider, things like Sky Striker, things like Shadal, things like Tri-Brigade as well. Just things to watch out for. So there you go. I hope that this helps you in understanding the meta, understanding what's going on, and understanding why you aren't playing against Sword Soul as much as you think that you are. But yeah, there you go. Hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.